54% of Americans are now walking away from alcohol, which is the lowest rate in 90 years. But Susie, if alcohol is not invited, what does the party look like?
I have actually gone at least 2 Lent seasons without alcohol, which is about 50 days. I could not believe it. And you know what I did at the end? I popped a bottle of champagne on Easter. But that was a while back. Now our culture is really shifting. And what does it look like now? I think it looks like the future of drinking, where zero proof is maybe, if not main stage, it's right adjacent to the alcohol beverage. There's going to be a list with cocktails for you that are special, that are made with curated ingredients. Look, we're getting excited right now, right? And there's probably going to be non-alcoholic wine also on the menu. It's starting to come. I believe that is the future of drinking.
So, Susie, you've built weekends, a facilitator network, a membership, international travel experiences. And the alcohol industry has lost an estimated $830 billion over the last 4 years since 2025. About what point did you realize you were not just building community, but you were truly part of this overall cultural shift?
Thank you. I'm so sorry. They've they've lost that amount. Yeah, I'll tell you when it was. It was in the fall, I want to say almost 2 years ago. And somehow I got on a call, a Zoom call it was for the alcoholic beverage industry. And it was going over all the stats. I got on the call, I was listening, and about, I don't know, 5 minutes into the call, all I could hear was non-alc, 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 non-alcoholic beer, kombucha. Everything was rising. And I was so excited. I, was messaging people while I was on the call, and I'm like, boy, do they, we have their attention. And clearly, I mean, they didn't pay enough attention, right? But they were very worried then. And look what's happened. I mean, really, from that moment, I think that's about when the 830 billion lost. I just talked to
Mm,
friends that are in the wine industry, and it's complicated, right? We all probably have friends that work in the industry in somehow or some way.
mm.
And it's difficult for them, right? Because they're like, well, look at any alcohol stock. They're all down right now. But hey, you know what? You've got to adapt. I mean,
Yeah.
we know we've been to Germany and they are adapting much faster than we have in the United States.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's, businesses, that's how it works. If you have a business, you have to keep your pulse on what people want. And people don't want alcohol as much as they used to.
No, they don't. But it also has surprised me, honestly, because personally, I did feel so concerned about being a non-drinker. That was a big concern of mine. And I did not expect to become so popular, right? I mean, it really is a bit ironic, I feel.
Yeah. Well, you are a very special trailblazer in this field, Susie. And I honestly, I have to thank you for everything that you've done these last several years. It has just been an absolute joy in my alcohol-free life. I mean, I actually feel like you've totally transformed, my alcohol-free experience, and just you've truly opened up my world. You and Peggy and Lisa, like the whole team at Zero Proof. I just have to just say how much you guys mean to me. It's really big.
Love you. Thank you.
Love you, Susie. So
Um,
we've mentioned Germany a couple of times, but let's really get into it now. So you took this incredible zero proof community to Germany and Austria, which is really the heartland of wine culture, for the world's first non-alcoholic wine tasting tour. What does it mean to you that alcohol-free living has reached that kind of level?
I wasn't sure. It was a little over a year ago when we started the process. And I'm like, Darcy of Hooked Alcohol Free Travel, I really like this trip. So let's see what can happen. And, people were ready. It was special. I have looked back and I'm like, I can't say it was the highlight of my year because my son got married last year. But
congratulations.
I mean, it was just way up there. I think we shared some excitement on that trip. And I still was pinching myself like months before and months after.
Oh my gosh.
that it would really happen. People asked me years ago, once in a while, like, are we going to ever do like a little trip to Napa Valley, and maybe we'll take the wine country back or something.
Yeah.
And, I thought, well, maybe we'll do spa. I don't know. But Napa's not ready yet. I mean, it is coming to California, but there's other countries, and Germany is still like a really big front runner. Australia's got some things going on too. But that German engineering really took off. And wasn't it cool that some of those wineries there have been working on it for 10 years?
Yes.
Kristin. So no wonder they have some really amazing wine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the amount of varietals, that were available. I mean, we walked into Lights on the first day and they're like, okay, we have 12 options for you. 12?
12? Are you joking?
I mean,
from one place?
Yeah, that was incredible.
Right. And I do share that once in a while with, just friends. And it is shocking to them too.
Yeah.
It is shocking to them. I still think, I don't know, maybe do people that didn't go on the trip, do they really believe us, Kristin? Right?
Well, yeah, they do, because I've been bringing the non-alcoholic bottles around to parties. I'm showing people. I'm like, I want that. It was such an impactful trip for me and my husband, Evan, that, to be able to now share that experience and walk into, gatherings here in the US with those non-alcoholic bottles of wine that are so good. It's like, and to your point, I have plenty of friends and family that consume alcohol, but they all get excited when I'm walking into the party because they know I'm bringing some really top quality NA beverages. And
yes, you are.
and it's like, yeah, and I'm like, I want to share this NA wine that I just tasted, in Germany. And it's my drinking friends and family that are actually sucking down that bottle faster than Evan and I can get to it. Right? Which is
right. So how many bottles do you usually take, Kristin?
it depends, 1 to 2.
Yeah. Yeah, same. But sometimes they really go. And, in all honesty, sometimes I bring it and people don't want to try it at all. They kind of just don't want to. But usually they do. I actually just shared a case that I got from Germany with some of my golf lady friends. And, I just got several texts after, like, where can I get that? Where can I get that? And I'm like, well, we'll see. Can't really get it quite yet.
There are websites I've been finding it online to to buy, which is exciting. So
it's unusual if you find it at the grocery store. Would you agree? Or Whole Foods, or even it's typically the good stuff I order online. Mostly.
Yeah. But
so it's just planning ahead.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Exactly. Right. And the options are there and it's growing, which is really exciting.
It's growing. Yeah, it is coming. It is coming here. And it will be easier to get here. And we also have some nice brands here on the West Coast.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Joyous
is fantastic.
Who was a keynote speaker at Sober in the City, Seattle.
That was a pretty fun story.
Yeah.
And Tomorrow Cellars, they're doing some fun things with All the Bitter. They have kind of a collab with one of their wines, which we'll actually get to try at Sober in the City in Colorado too.
That's exciting. You mentioned All the Bitter. Tell people what that is for anybody who's watching who doesn't know.
Yeah, so probably most people realize that typical bitters have a high percentage of alcohol, but when you do put it in a whole drink, it's a very low percentage. A lot of people would maybe prefer, though, to have an alcohol-free bitter. And some of our friends, Ian and Carly, up in Northern California, just made it happen. they they met each other, I believe, at the French Laundry. So they definitely had the palate and
Wow.
the experience to develop that. And they're, it's fun to see them getting, they've been international. They're in a lot of markets and stores. So it's definitely a worthwhile, even if you want it in a regular cocktail.
Exactly.
It really adds a great flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's really
It'll
yummy.
make it special.
Yeah, it really heightens my mocktails that I make at home, so it's a great choice.
100%.
I know that you feel strongly that everyone who is embracing this alcohol-free lifestyle, that they find people who live where they are, maybe within this like 25, mile radius. Um, why are you so passionate about people who are embracing this lifestyle find the people who live in their area?
Yeah, I do think it's really important, Kristen. For me, it took a long time because it's great to connect online. And, maybe that's the first step. I mean, it certainly was the first step for probably both of us,
Right.
right? Before you knew anybody. And, it might have been before I was willing to even tell anybody locally also. So
Right.
there is that, some people talk about it right away. I did not. But, if you only socialize with people that drink alcohol, I think it makes you feel like you're a little bit of a crazy person, right?
Mm,
Because those like jokes that used to be funny, like, uh, oh, it's resveratrol, have another
right.
glass,
Right.
or it's time for wine, all the, cliches. Um, those are very prominent, and it's okay. But if I'm around that every day, all day, or the times that you do socialize, for example, every weekend,
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to come back to that true north, I guess you might say, of like this is what I want for my life. So I think it is really important to have community with people also that do not drink alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's you truly do want to spend time with people who are aligned with you. I have this phrase that I say a lot that, you are the sum of the five people you spend the most time with. It's like if you hang out with five smokers, you're likely to be the sixth. If you hang out with five drinkers, you're likely to be the sixth. If you hang out with five walkers, you're likely to be the sixth. So the
Love it.
people, yeah, you spend time with truly do then reflect what your life looks like. So,
Yeah. How about
yeah,
hanging out with five golfers?
right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah?
Yeah. All right. I'm
Y
working
you
on
trying to
you.
turn me?
Yep. Trying to turn you.
I'll golf with you if you paddleboard with me.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah?
All right. As long as I don't fall in.
Don't worry, you won't fall in. I'll show you the ropes.
Okay.
What do you think people get totally wrong about what it means to live alcohol-free?
Maybe they thought what I did. It will be boring. Like, it would be really sad if you weren't able to drink. I can, crystal clear, remember sitting in a jacuzzi talking about somebody else that had had a problem. And you surely wouldn't want to go too far down that road because I don't want to give this up. So I think it's the fear of the unknown
Oh, yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
Because you know this and you're comfortable with it, but you feel like you're gonna be boring. And how many times I think it's because I have heard this on multiple occasions. Oh, you're boring, you're not ordering a drink, right? And maybe I've even said it before. I, may have said something similar.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, the fear of the unknown. I agree because when it, when it's in your life for so many years, and then all of a sudden you're thinking about making that change, and it's like, well, what is life going to look like? Am I going to be boring? Are people going to look at me weird? Am I still going to be able to have fun? Um, and yeah, so having that like leap of faith that no, you can have an amazing life. In fact, I would advocate that my life has elevated in incredible ways. And I'm
I
sure
love I love
you're on the
watching
same
it.
page, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You know, someone could argue that building a community around not drinking still keeps alcohol like at the center of the conversation. How do you respond to that?
Um, it's my whole personality.
Yeah.
No, it's, I mean,
Right.
it isn't really my whole personality, but I have described it as a rather large hobby of mine, non-alcoholic beverages, alcohol-free lifestyle. So what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's super trendy now too. I mean, again, I still can't believe it, because I remember being so worried about being the non-drinker, and then yet all these people are coming along beside us. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Truly. Now, if only 54% of Americans, are drinking today, which, like I said, is the lowest rate in 90 years, that is a 13-point drop in just 3 years. Young adults are leading it. 50% of them drink now, down from 72% from 2004. And women have stepped back 11 points in a single year. What do you think is driving that?
Wow. Well, I think a lot of things are driving it. It's certainly the younger people, Gen Z, are definitely more interested, I think, in real life connection experiences, wellness experiences. Great to hear that women have dropped 11 points. Now, in my experience, I've been alcohol-free about 5 years, and I used to say that in Long Beach, California, where I live, I would see an alcohol-free menu about 3 to 5% of the time. And
Oh,
isn't it interesting how much that's changed? Because I do think now it's closer to 50% in just 4 to 5 years. So a huge shift. Can't be just young people then. It seems like it's everybody. And every time I tell my friends that, all friends that do drink and not drink, that only 54% of US adults are drinking, they're pretty surprised. Do you find that too?
yeah, I think so. Well, I think it depends, who you're talking to. I feel
Yeah.
like, you and I, we're so immersed in this alcohol-free space that to us, it's normal now not to drink.
Right.
We're both past that 5-year mark, and we've been surrounding ourselves with, hundreds of, friends in this space, from thought leaders to just, your average person who wants to go to an alcohol-free event. But yeah, it's still a mix. I think the 54% kind of makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, I think this is my experience. And so I guess I relate to more people that have the same experience. I think people are more interested in wellness. I mean, look at, longevity just a couple of years ago was kind of out there in a word. Now everybody's talking about longevity, wellness. How can we sort of improve our physical being?
That's true. I think like the wearables, like the Aura rings, right, are
Yes, yes,
suddenly everywhere. Like
yes,
I feel like
yes.
a couple of years ago, I didn't even know what that was, and now everybody's talking about it.
That's a good point, the wearables, because to me, it's really motivating too. And I think when you look at your wearable, which everybody is doing right now, when you look around this room, I bet half of these guys have wearables. When I eat late at night and my sleep metrics aren't as good, I have not had a wearable while I was drinking alcohol, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that when you do drink alcohol, your sleep metrics are not as good. And to me, that can really be motivating to make a change, even if it's a little bit less.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we know that alcohol affects REM sleep. In fact, I did a whole podcast episode dedicated to alcohol and sleep. But yeah, it most definitely has an impact. And I think, when people actually see the data and it's not data for, let's say, the average person, it's the data for themselves. It's like they have this concrete information to say what their body is doing every day, all day, at night, So yeah, they're realizing that their choices have such a direct impact on how they feel and how they sleep and, their health overall, their skin, you name it, the lab work that they're getting at their doctor. It's
Yeah, for sure. And I think another, like maybe a milestone, wasn't it just about a year ago when Canada reduced their recommended level of drinking to like maybe one or two drinks per week. And,
Oh,
I think that really got people's attention. Now, more and more doctors, like, what did we used to believe? I mean, I've been in plenty of conversations, Kristin, myself, years ago, where, yeah, let's have another glass of wine because it's good for you. And we really did believe that. I don't think deep down we believed that 3 or 4 or 5 glasses was good for you. But
right.
it kind of worked, and it seems now that that's outdated.
Oh yes, yes. They mess with those studies to say, when they were saying the French paradox that the red wine is good for you. They put these what they call sick quitters in those studies, and the sick quitters is the individuals who were moderate to heavy drinkers, but then they stopped drinking. Well, someone who stopped drinking,
Yeah.
but had already done many years of damage to their body, is not the same as somebody who's been a non-drinker their whole life. But they threw them all into the same study, into the same group, and said, "Oh,
Right.
look."
Yeah.
So then,
2010,
yeah,
Kristin.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And actually, awareness has really grown. In the
Right.
last few years, it has gone up to over 50%. I think it's 54% of Americans actually do realize that moderate drinking isn't healthy, and that's apparently double the number from just 10 years ago.
Right. And probably in your personal life, I know for me, there's several people that I've talked with this year that they're just interested. They're curious. They're taking breaks. They know that I'm a non-drinker. And so they're interested to know, well, what wine does she drink? Because most of the wine I've tried is terrible. That's what they're telling me.
Yeah, exactly. So for decades, alcohol has been sold to us as this status symbol. You've got the fancy champagne and with the sparkly gown on. You've got your expensive scotch. When you're wearing your suit, it has truly been woven into every celebration. It's on every TV screen, every social setting. Do you see that identity really starting to shift?
Yes, absolutely 100%. Although it has a ways to go. I mean, when it's been this many hundreds years, really ingraining. And I mean, I certainly believed in the past that I wouldn't really be able to lead a complete and full life, funny, haha, now without drinking alcohol. But it's still there, Kristin.
Yeah.
I do think it's still there. When you walk into a party, they still often hand you a glass of champagne, but it is coming where there are a lot of times. I mean, I know, for example, the common restaurant Joey's, the chain. I don't know if you have been there, but they have the tradition of when you walk in, if there's a wait, they have a bucket of champagne and they'll pour you a free glass of champagne. And they have changed that this year. So they also offer,
Oh.
it's not really an equivalent, but they offer sparkling water. So that is changing. I can see that's, a definite culture shift right there. But certainly there still are a lot of parties, a lot of quote unquote first class events, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if you get to ride first class in the airplane? Sometimes there is a nice option, we understand, but a lot of times,
Yeah.
they make that alcohol look really special.
Yeah. So there is a phase a lot of people hit where they start to feel better and clearer, but then, the social world suddenly needs to be relearned, so to speak. The last break you took, let's think about that.
Okay.
It started out as, I've heard you talk about this, as a kind of a short break, and
Yeah.
then you just kind of kept extending it. And what was it like then to rebuild those social skills? Because, if you were relying on having alcohol all the time at dinner and all these events, and now you're going out into the world as a non-drinker.
Yeah. So again, for me, it was really challenging. And I had some really weird experiences with servers that just, probably now it wouldn't really bother me, but I really built what I needed. And I kind of put the word out there on social media, like, who might be interested in getting together for an alcohol-free dinner in Southern California? And I had like a few non-alcoholic beverages at home that were much better than anything I could get at a restaurant. And so I just kept putting it out there because I was a little desperate, Kristin. Like, I
Yeah.
just wanted to go out to dinner.
Yeah.
And so finally, somebody commented on one of my posts, well, would you just stop talking about it and go ahead and do it now? So,
I like it.
yeah, so that's when we had a little online Zoom call, and that was kind of new. So,
Yeah.
with a few women, and we ended up hosting our first Sober in the City dinner party in downtown Long Beach in January of 2022.
So exciting. So exciting. I'm glad you brought up Sober in the City. My favorite thing in the world. Tell everybody what happens at a Sober in the City. What is the experience truly like to be at these events?
I thought that I would be really nervous, actually. And we had, I don't know, about 50 ladies at the first one. It was just a dinner in downtown Long Beach. And I just walked in and looked around, and there were 0 proof cocktails with Liars. It's brand new at the time. And I just relaxed because, like, this is a special evening just for us. And it really was. And I think, now Sober in the City has kind of grown into a whole weekend experience where we have a lot of learning, we have a lot of breakouts. Still, it really goes from Friday to Sunday, but still my favorite, close to my heart, is Saturday night's dinner party, where,
Yeah.
I feel like it's elevated. It's an opportunity to dress up if you want to. One thing I've said before is, I so appreciate all of the people that are growing the non-alcoholic beverage industry. And
Yes.
in all honesty, for me, I know everybody's different. I'm not sure if I would be here without that beautiful growth in that industry.
These weekends that you've built, they truly are incredible. And I've been to 4. I'm about to go to my 5th
Yay.
in Colorado Springs in May 2026. And I'm just so excited. It's just to walk in and to just be in a room with 100 other people from all over the country, some international,
Mhm.
and all of these people, mostly women, handful of men at each one,
Yep.
but just to walk in and see all these people, all these different walks of life, they're from all over the world, and they all just want to celebrate life without alcohol, like me. And it's like, oh my God. And it's just so exciting.
It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not that you can't socialize with people that drink alcohol. I do it a lot of times, and mostly it's great. But when you get too far apart physically, it's not that fun, right?
Yeah.
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 Maybe time to go home.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Or
Because when you're at a Sober in the City, you know that it's not even, the alcohol is just not anywhere. It's not on the premises. It's not coming up. It's not, a part of the weekend at all. And for a lot of people, that can bring a lot of relief, right? They don't have the pressure. They don't have to worry. They don't,
right.
wherever they are with their alcohol-free journey. Because, it's not just for already sober individuals. It is definitely for the seriously sober curious too.
Sure.
And, right, it's a great way to kind of like see what life is like without it.
Right.
And everybody who's at the event is on the same page.
It's a nice carrot too, I think, if you're like maybe early on in the experience and you want to see if you could make it a little longer. Like it's really a good way to try out a travel experience. They're not
Yeah.
all that easy. I do know that for some people can be really challenging, because it certainly was for me in the past too.
And it's really interesting because I want to say it's over 70% of people who drink alcohol, they actually do look for non-alcoholic options. So to me, that means like, okay, over 70% of drinkers out there have some sober curiosity,
So,
going on there.
right. So it does mean that businesses are really losing out on money if they're not serving a 0 proof beverage,
Yeah.
because they don't just lose the alcohol free customer. They sometimes lose their friends too,
Yeah.
right? Like how often have you picked a restaurant where 5 or 6 people are going out? You're going to definitely cater to the one that has great zero proof cocktails.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
That's definitely what I'm looking for. So, thinking about your journey, what was that moment when you realized that alcohol was just not doing what you thought it was doing for you?
There were probably a lot of moments that I, never mentioned to anyone. Like, oh, a long time ago, before going on a long-term road trip when the kids were younger, actually. I was like, oh, this will be a good, healthy journey for me. Take a few weeks off and, be active and working out more. And then, 3 days later, my sister brought wine and we were drinking every night for the rest of the trip. So, I mean, lots of little things like that. I actually, personally, this was kind of the big one for me because I am very health oriented. I had high liver enzymes in right around 40,
Mhm.
and it really got my attention. I actually cut way back on alcohol for about a dozen years before
Yeah.
just decided to say goodbye.
Yeah. Well, that
Yeah,
really speaks to what we were talking about earlier. When you have that data in front of your face, whether it's lab work from your doctor
right.
or today's kinds of wearables, it was interesting that at least did get you to make that shift by having that data right in your face.
It did. I considered myself to be like a very healthy person. And yet, there was kind of some cognitive dissonance there, wasn't there? So I remember, one year I signed up for an evening, like cycling camp. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least 2, 3 days, nights a week, I'll be cycling instead of drinking a couple glasses of wine. So yeah, it did hit me.
You've talked about the constant mental math of, drinking, always like calculating, monitoring, and most people don't recognize the stress of that. When did you first notice the noise around that had quieted?
It was about 6 months. It took
Yeah.
it took a minute. Yeah, and so imagine I did that mental math for, like, a dozen years for sure. Like, I did a lot of mental math there, really,
Yeah.
that I had no idea of. So it wasn't it took me 12 and a half years, uh, to figure out that that was really taking a lot of my headspace and also a lot of really valuable time. Again, you I really enjoyed working out. I know you do too. It's a thing. And so, man, I gave up a bunch of hours where I could have been making some big gains,
Yeah.
Kristen.
I bet.
But I was busy recovering.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't a lot of alcohol, it's still like I taught spinning classes a couple
Oh,
days a week for a brief amount of time. And, that's hard to do. I found out after, going out and having a martini and a glass of wine. It's very difficult.
yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you can do it when you're 22. I don't know.
So you've described going alcohol free as, pulling one lever that then changes everything.
Hmm.
What are these ripple effects that you've seen that maybe you weren't, you didn't even see coming?
Yeah, there's a few. Like, for example, Kristen, meeting you, honestly, that is really the ripple effect that I did not see coming. And you are like a prime example of being able to meet somebody that I would never have met. I have a whole extra set of friends than I did before. And, some people that we have something really special in common. And I mean, we've gotten to travel together not only around the entire United States, but internationally
Yeah.
now too, which is pretty amazing. So for me, it's the biggest ripple effect that I didn't expect. I guess another ripple would be the social aspect was the most challenging for me. And I think that's one reason that many people say, there's no way I'm going to give up drinking because that
Yeah.
is my whole social life. And my social life has grown, if not doubled, since I no longer drink alcohol. I'm a non-drinker, Kristen.
I like
It's
that.
kind of fun to say.
Yeah. Right. Right. Well, actually, yeah. That you bring up a good point. I've heard you talk about going back and forth with the word sober and alcohol free, non drinker. Where do you feel like you land these days?
Yeah, these days, that's a good question. I hated sober. I think maybe you didn't so much. I hated it, like I really hated it. And it would have been really painful for me to tell anyone in a social situation that I'm a non-drinker several years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been horrible. uh,
Yeah.
So I understand that there's still kind of a stigma. And so initially I was the most comfortable with alcohol free and still kind of my go-to, but I don't mind saying I'm a non-drinker. I was at a party the other night and I said I'm a non-alcoholic. I brought the best non-alcoholic wine though, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you did. You're my go-to expert. Yeah, I mean, the labels are really interesting. I think with the word sober, yeah, I kind of go back and forth on that
Mhm.
one. But I do use it. I think it's because it's still very well known out there. And to me, I'm like, well, I want to change what that looks like.
I love that.
Yeah, like let's reframe it. Let's change the narrative. It's not the old picture anymore of like the person on the park bench, right, drinking out of a
No,
paper bag. It's like young,
clearly.
beautiful, vivacious women, right? And healthy men too. And it's not what it used to be.
Clearly, it's not. And I actually wear a few shirts even now that say sober on them. My favorite is Sober Yoga Girl.
I was just gonna
Shout
say,
out, Alex.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. I have some of her shirts too.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love wearing them to yoga, actually.
yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think this whole I think of it as, we are in a way recovering out loud, as one or making our choice known out loud. We're not
Right.
hiding in a basement.
We
We're
really
not
don't have to be anonymous anymore,
No, not at all. I
right?
don't I don't want to. I don't want to live in the shadows.
No, you definitely do not want to.
I'm like,
I know you do not want to.
right, right.
Yeah. And you don't, which is fantastic to
Yeah.
be that example of showing how it can
Thanks.
be.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think it's like those ripple effects, like you're saying. If we're hiding in a basement, like pretending, that we're not to the rest of the world, then how are we going to change the world?
Well, and that is, something that really what it took for me is to meet somebody that in my mind was normal-ish, right? That was making that decision too. And so while I know we shouldn't do things just because other people are doing them, it did make it a lot more comfortable for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're social creatures, right?
Hmm.
Being social, it is very important to our health and wellness, our nervous systems. That's just how we're wired. And the social aspect is really, really important along this journey. When I think about the years that I struggled, it was the worst years of my struggle were right before the pandemic, 2018,
Right.
right? 2019. And at that point, I had aligned myself with all of these people, all of my social groups, all of my hobbies, any groups of people where I was spending time, they were all drinkers. So it was just, it was like everywhere I went, people were drinking. But then when I started to really have a problem and it got, in my case, very severe at one point, it was, I mean, I was starting to lose my will to live truly because I thought, well, I can no longer, be in these groups. I was the leader of many of those groups. I'm leading the party. I'm hosting, the wine tasting. I'm bringing the alcohol everywhere we go. And suddenly I'm, out. I'm being completely left out.
Right.
And it was
It-
very painful.
Painful, awkward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
All the
like
things.
finding a way back in,
Yeah.
right, was a challenge. And
Yeah.
And I think it still can be a challenge from time to time. I mean, clearly, I'm pretty comfortable with being alcohol free and I'm pretty excited about it. In fact, I think actually after this many years, it actually gets better. I get more excited about. But every once in a while, I think like, I saw a travel special on TV, and this probably might sound dumb, but it was someplace, I don't remember where it was, but there was a specific kind of orange wine that you drink in this place that also looked pretty cool because they were
Hmm.
romanticizing the whole place. And I was like, well, I guess I won't go there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of something like that, because again, it still is there where it is being romanticized, frankly,
Yeah.
or elevated to a higher level than it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so deep seated in our culture. It's in like 84% of movies. A lot of commercials are very, alcohol centric. And,
Right?
in a 30-second to a minute commercial, they're just showing the glamour of it. They're not showing the hangover the next day or the DUI
No.
or all those.
Or the run where you thought you could barely move, Kristen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, maybe you just like had to sleep in for 2 hours. It wasn't, it's not like it was a big deal, but you missed your run or something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, so I want to talk about your amazing online community called CVE Connect,
Ooh.
which you launched in January of 2024. So it's more than 2 years old now. What motivated you to make the focus of that group, I'm alcohol free, now what, versus a traditional recovery group?
Yeah, good question. I guess maybe it's personal experience. And, a lot of us have been alcohol free for a little bit now. So it's just really not as much the focus. The focus is on wellness. The focus is on personal growth. The focus is on moving forward. And yes, we still have real life. Our life is not perfect now without alcohol. Would you agree?
Yes, yes. Life gets lifey is
Yeah.
what we say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But I was surprised. I have a partner, Peggy, who's our connection officer. Fantastic. So much energy and ideas. And it was really her idea to kind of switch up our second call with a variety of different facilitators. And I was like, I don't know. But you know what? That gave the most life and energy to the group than, than ever.
Yeah.
Right. So it's been really fun to have you with your nervous system expertise. And, it's been so
Thank
fun
you.
to watch you grow into that, grow into this. I can't keep track of your certifications, but I love, I love just seeing you continue to grow and learn and then come back and share with us. And what we really hoped for when we chose facilitators was, for a variety of different people, which I think we do have,
Yeah.
different lifestyles, different parts of the country. But I think the biggest thing was that you would connect with other people in our community.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what it's about. Not like sitting and listening to a Zoom call, but connecting. Like it's okay to sit and listen. But honestly, I'd rather hear from you, even if
Yeah.
it's just one little thing about you or what you think about the topic that we're discussing.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I love about the online community. It's so interactive. There are always so many rich discussions. And because on your Thursday morning meetings, there is always the rotating facilitator. And like Susie said, I get to be a part of that, which has
Yay.
been such an honor. So you've got this such variety of personalities, background, ages, experience, interests. But at the end of the day, we all get to really pick topics that light us up and that we feel like we can bring to the group and that it really truly benefits them. It, maybe gets them thinking about something differently. Like you said, I love to bring all of my nervous system knowledge,
Yes, you do.
the passion I have for that. I love to share what I do. And that has been such a beautiful venue for me to bring that passion to other women who, are living alcohol free and they're looking for that now what, that very future focused, take on things, which I think is so powerful because I don't, in my journey now, like I don't want to be stuck in the past. I truly want to
Right.
grow.
Yeah, you do. Like, by the way, Kristin, I want to get my HRV up. So, let's work on that too. Okay.
Yeah, your heart
Yeah.
rate variability. Oh, yes, that is a very important marker for health, and it really shows how tone your your vagus nerve is, and which is very important for the parasympathetic nervous system, your heart rate, and your overall health. So,
Yeah, well, mine's not that great. I didn't know that until I got my
oh,
Aura ring,
really?
but yeah, it's not that great.
Okay, then we'll work on that.
Okay, so that's my personal
I
request.
like it. I like it. Well, the love and kindness meditation that I taught last year at CBE, that had the studies around that meditation. It's such a special one. It's a Buddhist practice,
Hmm.
and it's about bringing up these warm feelings towards yourself and towards others. The studies have come out and said that it has a direct impact on heart rate
On your
variability.
HRV.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
when I hear HRV talk, I always think that's one of my go-tos. And it's such a lovely practice to do. So yeah.
Love it.
For someone who is listening who feels like they're the only alcohol-free person where they live, what's a good like first step for them to maybe explore?
Firstly, I would say I don't think you are the only alcohol-free person where you live,
Yeah.
but I certainly understand how it feels that way because I felt that way. But now you and I kind of look around sometimes at parties and you can spot somebody that's not drinking when you look close. Uh, so I guess that would be my first thought is look around,
Yeah.
but also reach out to Kristin online. She'd love to talk to you. I love
Heck
to
yeah.
meet people, especially like if you're in Southern California or, Kristin lives in a very two populous places around New York City and around
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale, Phoenix. I mean, we'd love to meet you for coffee. I do that,
Yeah.
probably every month or two, meet somebody that I haven't met before.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, and actually, this is really exciting because 3 years ago, I heard you on a podcast. It was Terry Patterson's podcast. You were talking about the sober in the city, and I got so excited because I'd never heard of something like that. So I left a comment on Instagram, and then you slid into my DMs, and then we met a few months later. And today we are recording on the 3-year anniversary of the day we met.
That's kind of full circle.
I love those kind of full circle moments. And
Right.
so, I mean, sober Instagram is very powerful. It's a very great way to meet people, I think.
I think there's a lot of stories like that. So if you're feeling alone, you don't have to be. And, maybe the first person that you meet online, you might not click with too, but there's so many accounts now to look after or, maybe look up some wellness activities. I think now is a good way. I know sometimes they still have like yoga and
Yeah.
beer
Yeah.
activities, but
Exactly.
I think it's getting less and I think they're becoming other options too, and
Yeah.
so I think that's a nice place to meet somebody. They may or may not be completely alcohol free, but certainly that's probably not a large focus for them.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love that going to some kind of wellness events in your area is definitely a great jumping off point. Susie, if you could go back and tell your wine drinking self what is one thing that is waiting for you on the other side now of alcohol, what would you tell her?
I think I would tell wine drinking Susie that there's a great big world out there waiting for you. Like really simple as that. But
Yeah.
as a bonus, one day you're going to go to Germany and be some of the first in the US to taste really upscale wine, because that would have been a good carrot for me, Kristen.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I know. I mean, yes, our world truly has opened up, and I mean, we are doing things that we didn't think we could do, and
Right.
we're doing all the things that we used to do, but elevated. And to me, they're a better, more rich experience without the alcohol. And there is something to be, celebrated around that, and it's really exciting. So, Susie, any final thoughts? Anything we didn't talk about today that you want to share with my audience, or anything you want to know from them?
Well, I, I love to know what people are excited about in the alcohol-free world. I would love to get inside your head and know, like, what do you want? What do you want to do? Do you want more alcohol-free beverages? Do you want more like festival kind of events, or do you want one day events, or what do you want? I think Kristen and I would both love to hear about that.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Excellent.
So we'd love to know you more.
Yeah. Aw. Well, thank you so much, Susie, for coming on today, sharing your story, sharing the incredible events that you put on, and the incredible community that you've built, and all the collaborations that you've done. So I just want to thank you so much. It was really magical to talk to you today, especially on our anniversary.
Cheers.
So
Happy
much.
anniversary.
Cheers.